What's up, y'all? It's Prince here, Southprince, aka Gold Dust Productions. PG County raised from the DMV. Here being interviewed by Josh. Let's get it.
Just spank the shit out that journal, bro.
And about to clap sync. Look, got my hands in the camera.
Yeah, they are.
3, 2, 1. Sorry. It just
No, I do the same thing, yeah.
Alright. 1 minute, right?
1 minute?
Take 1 minute and just tell me your life story.
My life story?
Who is Prince in 1 minute?
Who is Prince in 1 minute? Alright. Oh man. I feel like 1 minute isn't enough to really explain who I am as a person, because I feel like I'm a simple man, but at the same time, there's a lot of complexity. Prince is a producer. Prince is a creative, lover of music. At the end of the day, I'm curious about art in general. Lover of art, and I also love my community, the Black community, the DMV in general. Also, just like the Nigerian community here as well. I like to represent all the different aspects of life that I kind of embark in.
Alright. I'll take another minute and tell us how you grew up.
How I grew up.
Where you're from, like what was your life like as a youngin', growing up until like being who you are today.
Woo. Alright, man. PG County raised, man. It was definitely an interesting upbringing, moving around a lot to different schools. My parents wanted me to have like kind of like the most well-rounded education foundation possible. I went to a French immersion, switched to private school, and switched back to public school. With doing that, I met a lot of different people. I was in a lot of different programs that allowed me to explore who I was like as a person when I was younger. And that kind of is like the reason why I'm so jack of all trades, so curious with when it comes to music, when it comes to art in general. And one of the most pivotal kind of moments in my whole like upbringing was actually during the period I was in private school. That time we didn't have cable. When we finally got cable, and we didn't know the channels. My dad, he just knew the news, and we knew MTV hits. That's the only thing that we knew. So for like the next like 2 years, it was just MTV hits for my siblings and I. Through that, I just became obsessed with music videos. I became obsessed with production. I became obsessed with the life of artists, everything that do outside of music as well, and also in the music. I got obsessed with shows like 106 in Park, or you know, like the MTV Countdown, stuff like that. That really got me immersed into like the industry at a really young age. Like I was like 8 at the time. Really getting all that music flooded to me 24/7, because you know back then that's when MTV like around the clock it was just music. Now it's just, I don't know, ridiculousness and stuff like that. But yeah, then going into like, you know, my parents separated, and I found music to be an escape during that time when we made that big move to Howard County, where I spent the rest of my, you know, childhood until I, you know, moved away for college. I found myself immersed in like, you know, radio shows, podcasts, and also YouTube. YouTube was a huge place for me to find new music. People like Joey Badass, Capital Steez, Meek Mill doing his freestyles, like, you know, different people like that, but also producers. You know, it wasn't huge to post your beats on the internet, but there was a lot of beat contests. People in, like, for example, like Toronto doing stuff. You know, I wasn't watching her at the time, but if I found out about her at that time, that's who I would have been watching. Wonder Girl. or Hit Boy when he was making his early, rise to, producing and stuff like that, because he has a deep catalog that extends way, way back that people don't know about. And, that's when I got obsessed with producers. But hip hop wasn't my first love when it came to producing music. It was actually EDM music, electronic music. And YouTube was where I found a lot of those, like dubstep, house, drum and bass, like all that different jazz. And I got obsessed with all of that and started wanting to make my own little production, early on in high school. Failed really bad at it. But then I still kept on doing it. But then I took a little break, and then I met someone who actually, in college, who got me back into producing. And that's when I started sampling a lot, using my foundation of, because I was in orchestra when I was younger. I was also in the church. So, I learned how to play the piano. My mom also got me into playing the guitar. I knew my way around a lot of different instruments. So I used my background in that, use my knowledge of, the deep catalog of music that I knew across different genres. Because, being Nigerian, I love Afrobeats music, but I'm also into different genres, like even like Japanese rock or Japanese soul. What's it called? House music, EDM music, rock, alternative music, indie, anything of the sorts. But yeah, that's kind of how all these like different segments of my life kind of piled on top of each other to create that whole bubble of passion that I have for music. Because it's not just producing. I love DJing. I love talking about music. I love being critical about it in a lot of different regards. But that's kind of how I came to be where I am right now.
All right. You talked about how moving around and getting into more genres like really influenced your style.
Yeah.
So like specifically, what kind of influences did you have? Like what people were you looking at the most? I know you said Wonder Girl.
Okay, man. Honestly, it's really, bruh. As a person, like I said, I'm obsessed with music, so I can say everybody. Cause like,
do you have any like Paramount ones, like
Paramount
top 10?
Top 10. Kanye West. That's number one. Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson, Fela Kuti. The go-go scene in general. I love the go-go scene. Like, the music of the DMV scene, like, is something that I feel that really needs to have a light shed on. But we'll get to that, later on. But Kendrick Lamar, Tyler the Creator, Ninth Wonder.
Ooh, that's a
Ninth
good one.
Wonder, definitely. Whitney Houston. Janet Jackson.
One more.
I got one more. I need to make this one count. Beyonce. Yeah. We can't forget about Beyonce.
So like your influences spanned across genre, producers, singers, rappers. What is something that you would see yourself always liking in a song? Like what's something that connects all of the genres to you?
What connects all the genres to me?
It could be a feeling, an emotion.
I see music as one of the most pure forms of communication. You may not understand the lyrics, you may not understand the language someone may be, singing, rapping, and doing whatever in on their song. But that feeling that you get, that's what hits me first when I'm listening to a song. When I listen to Japanese rock, I can feel the freedom and expression that they have when they're creating, music. When I listen to Afrobeats, I listen to the beauty of like high life, like celebration of life, like love, like things like that. When I listen to hip hop, I'm listening to the history of different peoples, from where they come from, their lifestyle. When I listen to different genres, you get that foundation that they created in. That's what I like. That's what hits me first. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of that stems from production, and that's why I personally take pride in being a producer, because of the fact that is, to me, that's where it starts. Those first couple of keys that you may hear in a song, like for example on Runaway, like that. Runaway is one of the most. It's such a weird song because it's just the dun, 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 dun. But it's just like through that you that it's creating a sense of feeling that however you interpret the song, that's where it starts for you. For me, whenever I go into FL, I'm thinking, how am I supposed to create that feeling that someone is about to, hear in their headphones, hear on their speakers, hear in the club, hear on their car radio, what thoughts do I want to communicate in my mix when I'm DJing? What feeling do I want to communicate in my set? What it feels like mathematics almost. Like it's trying to figure out what fits best in the situation, and all of that. That I can see that perspective, being a producer. And when I think about listening to music, create that feeling that I get, I see like how people are able to create that feeling, and that's, to me, that I can see how it becomes an addiction. Like, and that's what it is to me. Music is an addiction. And that's kind of what I think about when you boil it down to it.
And I'm glad you went there, because that was gonna be my next question. Like, what is the feeling for you when you go into FL and you're about to produce something? Is it something that you're just feeling in the moment? Do you bring things from the past? What's like your creative process like when you make a beat or when you're about to mix on DJ?
I'm pissed off because I'm about to go into FL, and because the reason, and I don't know if anybody else ever felt this before, but whenever I start producing, I get so annoyed because I have so many ideas in my head, and it's like I only have two hands and like one mind that can really process everything, and I want to do so many different things at once. And then I realize, okay, settle down, because I'm in control. So I go in pissed off, but then I realize that it's my turf. It's my domain. I can do whatever I want to do in this. And then I'm ready to attack. It may seem like I may make the softest beat ever, but it's like I'm going in ready to like really like attack these thoughts that are in my head and put pen to paper, because I have trouble with that when it comes to my creative process. So and you know what? I never really realized, I'm voicing this out right now, but I never realized how frustrated I get when I start creating. But that's what comes natural for me, because in reality, like when I'm going into create, I'm letting loose. I usually spend most of my days stressed because of school or something like that, or just like anxiety and stuff, and I'm going in to have that be a release. So one of my biggest inspirations, Tyler the Creator. And I go in thinking that, like, for him, he is one of the most, like, what's a good word for it? Like, polarizing people when it comes to producers in the hip hop scene today. And I try to, when I maintain that sense of control, that status of control, that's when the next step for me is, okay, what would Tyler do? How would he start in this creative process? And for him, he just feels, he just creates, he just goes. From what I used to watch so many different documentaries of his, interviews and stuff like that, like documenting how he is throughout his different album rollouts and stuff like that. And one thing I noticed is that he doesn't hold himself back. He isn't afraid to mess up. He isn't afraid to learn. He isn't afraid to be a student of the game and be a nerd when it comes to music. And that's what I am. When I'm finally in control, I start thinking, okay, I'm gonna sample this to create this feeling. I'm gonna get these drums in, and then we start from there. Or I'm gonna get these hi-hats in this pattern to create this kind of mood, then we start from there. I'm gonna create this synth pattern to create this feeling that I'm feeling, to communicate this thought that I'm feeling, and we start from there. It's not a solid, like, okay, I don't know, some people just like strictly, I'm gonna always start with hi-hats, I'm gonna always start with the sample, I'm gonna always start with the melody, I'm gonna always start with this. Like, for me, it just depends on what I'm feeling. But I just know that one of my favorite artists, like, expresses himself in the freest way possible. So once I maintain control, I say fuck it and go, you know?
Mm-hmm. So, about your producing, what's, like, your signature thing that somebody could think, okay, Prince made this beat, okay, Goldust made this beat, or is it that you just make everything however you want? There's no beat, there's no hi-hat, there's no sound, besides the producer tag, of course. It doesn't have to be like a thing like that that's you can think like in here, like a hi-hat. It doesn't have to be something like that.
Shit!
It could be like
I forgot about, you asked me who is one of my favorite, who is my inspiration. I forgot to say Timbaland. Timbaland is one of my biggest inspirations of all time. That man taught me that music, like, life is music, that everything is a beat. And the way he's able to create, like, that bounce in his beats, like, that's what I love. That whenever you listen to a beat of mine, if you don't hear that bounce, like, then it's not me. If you don't hear that, like, swing that makes you want to move and whatever, even if you're feeling sad, I still want you to move. If you don't feel that, it's not me. You know what I'm saying? And, like, I'm getting excited thinking about it now, because it's just like I love like, one of my favorite things about the DMV scene is like the club scene, like, in DC, and I want to be able to expose that in my music, that DMV sound, that bounce, that movement, that go, like, you know what I'm saying, like, and you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
And that's what is, like, even like the Jersey club that niggas is hearing now, bro. I was trying that shit early, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I have the proof with the music. I'm just, like, I was trying a lot of that early on, and that bounce, that, like, I love, that's something that, other than my producer tag, if only you had a motive for murder, which is like a random snippet that I found in a loop kit that I just kept using. And but yeah, that's me.
So when you're when you're picking samples,
Yeah.
is there like a genre of music that you pull from more often, or do you just take from everywhere?
Okay. Yes. It's usually it's whatever I'm feeling. Like if I specifically want to create like a song sampling R&B, that's what I'll do. If I want to create a song specifically sampling like a Afro like hit, I'll do that. If I want to create a song sampling a gospel hit, that's what I'll do. Like it's really like basically like there's no like know-how about how I choose my samples. I just create it. I just go listen to what sounds good, and that then, you know, if it matches how I'm feeling, that's where I start from there. Like I said before, if the sample is something that I can chop up or manipulate to sound like, you know, something like I am feeling, you know, then that's I go from there. Usually I gravitate towards gospel samples. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of just my just history of being in the church, or R&B samples, just because I feel like you can get so much from a soul or R&B sample. But yeah, like things like that. Or I also just like going on YouTube and looking at just different things, like just like random sounds, like not just music. Like it could be like, I don't know, like I sampled something that sounded like the SpongeBob theme song like a couple months ago, made it a drill beat, like things like that. I don't like to box myself in when it comes to sampling. So yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of shift a little bit to like, what kind of cool stuff have you done, like with your producing, with your DJing, and like have you produced for anybody that you would like to name drop? Be like, hey, I got this placement right here.
Yeah, no, so when it comes to producing, oh my gosh, it's so tough, like getting placements and stuff. At least in my opinion, coming from nothing to something.
For sure.
I've had placements and they just never went anywhere. Like that's like just sometimes that's just what happens. But I also work with a rapper named J Mamba. That's one of my best friends. He is someone that I drop my beats to a lot. In the past, I worked with a rapper who's also from the DMV named Maine. We had a song that got on the radio named Give It To Me. And when in terms of DJing is something that I'm like just getting fresh into again, because I used to make mixes for myself in high school. And I plan on DJing a couple things before the end of the year. Stay tuned on that. I plan on making a lot of mixes and posting them on SoundCloud, on my TikTok, on my YouTube channel. I plan on trying to expose more of the DMV sound, the DMV music that I love through the sets that I may mix, and through the songs that I may produce. It's been a while since I've been getting into the game of producing, but someone that I met recently, Malik the Prince, he's one of my, personally, that's someone y'all gotta look out for. Like, y'all watching on the cameras, man, y'all gotta watch out for him too. Malik the Prince and J Mamba. Those are two people that I feel like align with the sound in terms of, the balance that I create in, my productions. And I love, lending beats too. But I'm still trying to get back into the game of producing, because it has been a couple months since I've been really obsessed and, focused and honed in on, the keys, because I've been on the ones and twos a lot recently, practicing and getting my style developed and whatnot. And so yeah.
All right. Is there anything you want to shout out? Anybody? Put your Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube.
Man, follow me on all social platforms at southprince.gd, Prince Achoro, and Goldust. Southprince.gd on TikTok, Prince Achoro on Twitter and Instagram, and Goldust on YouTube and SoundCloud. Stay tuned in the next couple of months for a lot of content coming on TikTok, a lot of beats to be uploaded soon, a lot of mixes to be uploaded soon. It was a pleasure getting to be interviewed by you, Josh, because I'm not when it comes to talking about the music stuff, it's always me talking to the world,
right,
and never the world talking to me about how I
look at things.
So it's it's a good change of pace,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Alright,
man. Check out my playlist on Spotify and Apple Music. I got my fall playlist coming up soon. Pumpkin Spice. Y'all already love it. Boom.